An in-depth exploration of Eileen Cheung, a biography, a literary life under a solitary lamp. Lighting a solitary lamp, she was a literary marvel of Republican-era Shanghai, her pen weaving tales of human desolation and splendor. She was a solitary traveler, retreating to America in her later years, leaving behind countless unsolved mysteries. Eileen Cheung, a name like a lone lamp, illuminating the sky of modern literature while casting shadows of her tumultuous life. Yu Bin's Eileen Cheung, a biography, unveils the life of this genius writer with meticulous research and delicate prose, guiding readers through her traumatic childhood, literary peak, tangled romances, and lonely later years. Why is this book a cornerstone for studying Eileen Cheung? How does it dissect a complex soul's literature and life with a calm, non-mythologizing perspective? Let us follow Yu Bin's words to explore the radiant yet lonely glow of Eileen Cheung. Her literary achievements shine not only in works like The Golden Cangue and Love in a Fallen City, but in her piercing insight into human nature and her vivid portrayal of her era. Yu Bin writes, Eileen Cheung's words, like her life, carry an icy tenderness both chilling and moving. This biography, structured chronologically into her early years, rise to fame, and later life, with an appendix analyzing her literary status and emotional world, avoids turning her into a legend. Instead, it uses historical records and her works to craft a flesh-and-blood portrait of a brilliant writer and an ordinary woman shaped by family, love, and her times. Why does her story captivate us? Perhaps because her words touch the universal loneliness and longing within us all. From the glamour of Republican Shanghai to the alienation of post-war America, her writing resonates across time. With academic rigor and literary warmth, Yu Bin brings us closer to the scribe of a genius dream, exploring how she ignited her literary light amid a broken childhood and turbulent era. Her works are not just literary treasures but snapshots of her era's social psyche, capturing the struggles and compromises of urban men and women amid war and change. Her stories, like vivid tableau of Republican city life, evoke the everyday charm of Shanghai's alleys and Hong Kong's exotic streets. In Jasmine Tea, she writes, Shanghai's alleys are forever half lit, half dark, like the corners of the human heart. This knack for transforming mundane details into profound human insights makes her writing both intimate and philosophical. Yu Bin notes that Eileen Cheung's uniqueness lies in elevating the trivial into revelations about human nature. Her Shanghai is not just a city but a tapestry of desire, loneliness, and compromise. In her novels, from the daily grind of ordinary folk to the hollow masks of high society, she observes with a clear-eyed detachment. For instance, Blockade captures a fleeting encounter on a tram, revealing the alienation and yearning of wartime Shanghai, which Yu Bin calls a precise snapshot of the era's psyche. Her prose acts like a microscope, magnifying the subtle textures of humanity, making familiar scenes reveal unfamiliar truths. This keen observation of social psychology places her work not only in literature but also in the realm of social history. Her essays, novels, and even unfinished manuscripts are like letters to the future, sharing her observations and reflections. Imagine a Republican-era reader, King Wanlin, daughter of a Shanghai silk merchant, well-versed in romance novels yet stunned by Eileen Cheung's words. King Wan wrote in her diary, reading Eileen Cheung feels like someone voiced the secrets of my heart, laying bare love and hate under the sun. This resonance is the power of Eileen Cheung's literature, not just personal expression but a mirror of her era, reflecting the inner worlds of countless ordinary people. Shadows of childhood and literary beginnings. Eileen Cheung's childhood was a prelude shadowed by familial rifts. Born in 1920 to a declining aristocratic family in Shanghai, Her father, Eileen Cheung, was steeped in the decadence of old literati, while her mother, Yufan Huang, pursued modern independence. Their divorce exposed young Eileen to the harsh realities of human relationships. Yu Bin vividly describes her childhood loneliness. She often stood alone on the balcony, gazing at the passing crowds in the alley as if searching for her own world. This solitude took root in her character and writing, fueling the complex psychology of her characters. Her grandmother, a daughter of late Qing statesman Li Hongzhang, embodied the contrast between her family's illustrious past and its present decay. Father's opium addiction and her stepmother's coldness filled her early years with repression. In her autobiographical essay Whispers, she wrote, "As a child, I often felt our home was an empty mansion, with just me running through it alone." This image of solitude echoes in her works, like the twisted struggles of Cao Kikyo in the Golden Cangue, reflecting her own sense of familial constraints. Cao Kikyo, bound by her golden shackles, mirrors the invisible chains Eileen felt in her family. In the 1930s, she attended Stidi Maria Girls' School in Shanghai, encountering Western education and literary classics. Her first published work, A Dream of Genius, written at 17, revealed her sensitivity and insight into words. In it, she declared her passion for writing. "I learned to read at 3, wrote poetry at 7. I believe I was born to write novels." Yu Bin sees this not just as a display of talent but as an attempt to escape her harsh reality through words. Her early works, like The Ox and Farewell, My Concubine, already showed her focus on human complexity, foreshadowing her mature style. Though less polished, these pieces hinted at her lifelong concern with women's fates, as seen in The Oxy's portrayal of repression and resistance in a traditional family. Farewell, My Concubine uses the historical tale of Shang Yu and Yu Ji to explore love and sacrifice. Yu Bin notes that these early works, though not as refined as legends, laid the foundation for her style, cool narration laced with fervent emotion, intricate details imbued with profound thought. Her childhood provided the emotional soil for these works, shaped by reading her father's library, from Dream of the Red Chamber to Western novels. Yu Bin observes that her style, influenced by Dream of the Red Chamber's detailed character portrayals and Western psychological techniques, blended Chinese and Western literary traditions. For example, her nuanced depiction of the protagonist's psyche in The Ox echoes Jane Austen's inner monologues. This East-West fusion made her early works stand out in the Republican literary scene, setting the stage for her later triumphs. Imagine an English reader, Irene Carter, raised in Victorian London amid parental discord, finding resonance in Jane Austen. Reading Whispers, Irene is struck by Eileen's vivid portrayal of familial alienation, as if seeing her own childhood reflected. Yu Bin argues that Eileen's ability to transform personal pain into universal human experience transcends cultural boundaries. Childhood was not just personal memory but a microcosm of countless fractured families of her era. Her grandmother's traditional tales of late Qing officialdom later infused her novels, like The Golden Cangue, with historical depth. Yu Bin notes that this blend of tradition and modernity gave her writing both classical charm and modern sharpness. A literary bloom in Shanghai from 1943 to 1945, Eileen Cheung reached her creative peak, thriving in the complex atmosphere of occupied Shanghai. Yu Bin writes, "Shanghai was her stage, and the gray backdrop of occupation sharpened her prose like a blade." During this time, she published her short story collection Legends and essay collection Gossip, capturing urban love, loss, and societal shifts with cool precision and vivid detail. These works not only captivated contemporary readers but became key texts for studying Republican literature. The Golden Cangue, her masterpiece in Legends, traces Cao Kikao's warped life in a feudal family. Yu Bin sees Cao's tragedy as both a personal tale and a reflection of patriarchal systems and human greed. Eileen wrote, "Life is a splendid robe, crawling with lice." This line encapsulates Cao's downfall and the hollow glamour of Shanghai. Yu Bin adds that Cao is not merely a villain. Her tangled love and hate for her son reveal human complexity. Love in a Fallen City, set in Hong Kong, depicts the romantic chess game between Bai Liusu and Fan Liuyuan. Yu Bin notes that Eileen's view of love is never rosy but a stark contest of realities. Bai's cunning and Fan's worldliness lead to a happy ending amid Hong Kong's fall, a biting irony of love's fragility. Eileen wrote, "To meet the one you love among millions, that's too great a stroke of luck." This sense of fatalism permeates her work, with Hong Kong's wartime unrest mirroring human unease. Imagine King Wan Lin, a silk merchant's daughter, stunned by love in a fallen city. Bai's pragmatism forces King Wan to rethink her own marriage, seeing love as a strategy for survival. Eileen's stories, a mirror to her era's women, capture Shanghai's multifaceted identity as the Paris of the East. Her essay collection Gossip records Shanghai's daily life with a lighter touch. These essays, with their sharp female perspective, reveal the diversity of Republican urban culture. In Apartment Life, she humorously sketches neighborly squabbles, from clothesline disputes to staircase gossip, brimming with life. Yu Bin calls these essays quick sketches of Shanghai's citizenry, blending petty charm with intellectual detachment. Her focus on women's fashion and home decor reflects social mobility and cultural shifts. In On Clothing, she analyzes Republican women's kipo fashion, a metaphor for their awakening self-awareness. Imagine Manlin Gu, a 1940 Shanghai student, enchanted by Gossipy's vivid details. She wrote, "Eileen's words make the mundane profound, as if every detail tells a grand story." Eileen's essays, a benchmark for modern prose, shaped later writers with their sharp cultural observations. She wrote in On Clothing, "Clothes are a language, tinged with pleading and coyness." Yu Bin sees this as a reflection of women's growing self-awareness through fashion's evolution. Her witty, incisive prose made her a singular voice in Republican literature. A tangled emotional world. Eileen Cheung's emotional life is another key to her story and art. Yu Bin, viewing her through her works, explores her relationships with Hu Lanqing and Sang Hu, revealing how her views on love shaped her themes. In 1944, she met Hu Lanqing, a relationship both vivid and scarring. Yu Bin writes, "Hu was her calamity and her muse. A talented but flawed romantic with ties to the puppet regime, whose politics clashed with Eileen's integrity. Yet his charm captivated her, as she wrote in Little Reunion, 'I love you. What's that to you?' This cool declaration reveals her conflicted view of love, yearning yet clear-eyed. Yu Bin notes that this relationship deepened her understanding of selfishness and betrayal, reflected in Lust, Cautionese Wang Jiaji, whose complex feelings for Mr. Yi end in tragic sacrifice. Her brief marriage to Sang Hu, a Hong Kong director, offered fleeting calm but ended due to differing temperaments. Yu Bin suggests Eileen's childhood shaped her wary yet longing approach to love, seen in characters like Cao Kikao's possessive distortions. She wrote, "To love someone is to stoop to the dust." This captures both her yearning and her struggle with self-worth. Consider Simone de Beauvoir's complex relationship with Sartre, exploring female autonomy in the second sex, echoing Eileen's own tensions. Beauvoir said, "Love is not possession but freedom," a sentiment Eileen conveys with sharp clarity. Her emotional life made her a voice for Republican women navigating love and independence. Yu Bin notes that her era shaped her romantic contradictions. She craved connection, but distrusted men. Red Rose, White Rose, Hen Bao's indecision between passion and propriety reflects her sharp critique of gender roles. She wrote, "Perhaps every man has two such women, at least two." This sums up both Hen Bao's dilemma and her view of human complexity. Yu Bin sees this as not just a love story but a critique of men's and women's conflicting roles. Imagine Violette Duval, a 1940 seconds Parisian reader of Lust, Cautione's English translation, struck by Wang Jiazi's choices. Violette wrote, "Eileen shows love as a war with no winners. Her emotional depth resonates across cultures. A solitary life in America after 1945, Eileen's life shifted from Shanghai's bustle to America's solitude." Yu Bin writes, "In America, Eileen was like a transplanted plant, adapting yet forever tied to her homeland." Works like 18 Springs and A Nightmare in the Red Chamber reflect deeper introspection and a longing for the past. Her prose lost its youthful edge, gaining a reflective melancholy. 18 Springs' later Half a Lifetime's romance tells the tragic love story of Gu Manzin and Shen Shijun. Yu Bin sees it as heavier than Love in a Fallen City, with less satire and more regret. Eileen wrote, "We can't go back," a line that pierces readers' hearts. Yu Bin views it as both a love story and a metaphor for women's powerlessness in a changing society. A Nightmare in the Red Chamber, her study of Dream of the Red Chamber, is a personal dialogue. She wrote, "Dream of the Red Chamber is an unfinished book, waiting for me." Yu Bin sees it as both literary analysis and a tribute to her cultural roots. Imagine Mary Ann Brandon, a 1960 seconds Los Angeles reader, moved by Half a Lifetime's romance amid her own divorce. Eileen's words bridge cultural divides, speaking to women's shared struggles. Her later works, quieter and more introspective, reflect her acceptance of life's impermanence. In Little Reunion, she revisits her relationship with Hu Lanqing, blending love and loss. Her translations, like Flowers of Shanghai, carry her longing for her hometown. She wrote, "Shanghai is my root, its old shadows always stirring in my heart." Yu Bin notes her simple life in America. One room, one table reflected her retreat into herself. An enduring literary echo. Yu Bin thoroughly evaluates Eileen Cheung's literary legacy. She was a maverick in Republican literature and a unique figure in modern literary history. Yu Bin writes, "Eileen revived Dream of the Red Chamber's romantic tradition, elevating daily life into human truths." Her realism blends Western psychological depth with Chinese emotional nuance. Her female characters, like Cao Kikyo and Bai Liusu, navigate tradition and modernity with cunning and resilience. Yu Bin compares her to Jane Austen, noting similarities in their sharp depictions of women's survival strategies. Her essays and gossip capture Shanghai's daily life, dubbed by Yu Bin as a model of modern prose. Her screenplay Long Live the Wife influenced Chinese cinematic storytelling. Yu Bin calls her work a mirror reflecting her era's clamor and human subtleties. Her stories, adapted into films like Red Rose, White Rose, remain classics of human complexity. Imagine Caroline Harper, a 1970 seconds British scholar, struck by the Golden Cangue's English translation. She wrote, "Eileen's women are sharper than Austen's, earthier than Woolf's, a bridge between East and West." Her influence shaped writers like Pa Yixin Young and Yi Shu. Epilogue. Reflections on life's impermanence. Eileen Cheung's life was a dance with solitude. Her words were both her weapon against the world and her way of making peace with it. Yu Bin writes, "Her loneliness was not a flaw but the price of her insight." From a broken childhood to Shanghai's glory and America's seclusion, she wrote of life's transience. Her story prompts us to ask, in a shifting world, how do we find our place? She wrote, "Life is so brief, we can only love, hate, and live to the fullest in the time we have." Her literature speaks to everyone wrestling with fate. Her lamp may have dimmed, but its glow still lights the literary sky, guiding us to life's meaning. Imagine Jinghan Ho, a modern Shanghai reader, touched by Eileen Cheung, a biography. She wrote, "Her words are a lamp, illuminating my heart's corners, showing me loneliness is a strength." Eileen's story belongs to her and to all who seek meaning in life. Her literature is a profound inquiry into existence. Her works remind us that, despite life's impermanence, its fleeting beauty is worth cherishing. Hu Bin's biography not only restores Eileen's true image but helps us find courage and wisdom in her words. Her solitary lamp burns on in every reader's heart, guiding us through life's fog to find our own light.